So in at number 10, I simply had to put the Mammoth for the old Ark Mobile list. I know this is not on the old version of Ark Mobile. I've done this on the PC version, but these are all creatures you can find in the version of old Ark Mobile. And it's just because the Mammoth really is an insane gatherer of all things wood, thatch, berries, whatnot, and you know, with its TLCs, which I'm pretty sure don't apply to Ark Mobile, it still, you know, is a great creature without those TLCs, and for those reasons I put it here because of its insane gathering skills in Ark Mobile. And I feel like its gathering skills are sort of unmatched in that regard. But also feel free for you mobile commenters, because I don't actually have that much experience with the game at all, to comment on these things and actually make your judgments as well. Just from what I've seen, I think the Mammoth is a pretty good contender for the best sort of resource gatherer in the game, so that's why I decided to put it in at the number 10 spot. Now going for the Megalosaurus in at number 9, I think this is just a really great creature for things combat and getting around the map. I've always liked the Megalosaurus in just general Ark as well, and there is obviously the eerie Megalosaurus as well, which you can get in Ark Survival Evolved Mobile, at least the old version of Ark Mobile. The same method is all pretty, it's the same, it's the standard stuff that you'd see in just a normal version of Ark, and they spawn in those same locations. If you look at the island, there are some other maps on Ark Mobile, of course, like, you know, there's Extinction and there's Scorched Earth, and I think there's Ab as well, although I'm not sure, it might fall under Crystal Isles or something like that in terms of the Ark maps. But they do spawn on a good fair few of maps on Ark Mobile. The Knockout Tame obviously, but they're pretty heavy damage dealers. Just perhaps maybe don't end up in the situation I was here, because as you're going to see in a second, I'm going to absolutely get pelted by Microraptors and I'm going to get this Megalosaurus killed. You've got to be careful with these things when you're riding them, but they can capture creatures in their mouth, which is great for use in terms of combat, because, you know, it can be dealing with a creature if you've been knocked off by something like a Microraptor. Like you're going to see, there'll be one sweeping in right there, and in a bit the Megalosaurus will die, but I might as well not show you that. You know, let's keep this family friendly. No Megalosaurus death on this channel. Next up, we have got the lovely, wonderful Mosschops, and what a great creature this is for gathering in the early game. I know I put the Mammoth there, but just for early game stuff, the Mosschops is really uncontested in a way. Like, you can't get better than the Mosschops. Its tame method can either be ridiculously easy or one which is just not worth it at all, because it likes food like sap, leech blood, organic polymer, things like that. And you know, it's got a range of taming items which you can use to tame it, and it spawns on pretty much every map as well, so you can get through all of that. It's not a very dangerous creature to be around. You just gotta use the right things when you're taming it, when you get one, and then just enjoy the Mosschops as it comes ready. It is a great creature for going around gathering things, all things like that, and personally for that I really like the Mosschops, and I think it is very much deserving of the list. In number 7, we've got the Dodic, and I had to put this here as it is just great as that sort of next level hatchet. If you've ever thought of like, oh, why isn't there another hatchet after metal? You've got the stone one, you've got the metal one, why can't there be more like one in the fabrication tier? Well, you've got the Dodic for that, and the Dodic is going to fulfill all of your desires when it comes to anything to do with anything you gather with a hatchet. So that being stone, that being wood, anything like that. And obviously you can roll around on it as well. I don't think the saddle gets damaged like it would on a roll rat, but I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty confident it doesn't, at least as far as I remember. But they are amazing stone and wood gatherers, so you should definitely use them for that. Just be careful with the turning circle and their spinning ability. It can be a bit temperamental in places. You can see we've got 666 stone there just from one rock. Continuing the trend, we've got the Anki next up on this list, and I had to put the Anki here for similar reasons. Just an absolutely amazing gatherer of anything that you use a pickaxe for, so that being metal, that being obsidian, that being thatch, anything like that. And this essentially just continues from where the Dode left off. Another simple knockout tame really, like the Dode. Nothing particularly difficult there, but getting one is like getting the better metal pick, essentially. So always good to get yourself an Anki. Personally love them as creatures, and you know, you're always going to want an Anki around, and in Ark Mobile especially, you're going to want an Anki around for any version of Ark. So there are creatures like this which just apply to any version of Ark, which you're just going to want all the time. At number 5, we've got the Giga. Be wary of its rage meter and be wary of its absolutely abysmal stamina. But apart from that, you've got yourself a pretty great attacking mount. And as far as I'm concerned, it's basically the strongest creature on the old version of Ark Mobile. You've got a few others which we'll cover in this list, which are pretty strong as well. But the Giga's about as strong as you're really going to get on this list. Yeah, you got some Alpha Dinos, but you can't tame those. So you've got creatures like the Alpha Rex, which would be stronger than a Giga, probably. I think it'd be about that, and then there'd be maybe some other creatures that can test it a little bit. If you go down looking at the Toothis, is one that could potentially contest it, but I don't think anything really can test the Giga in terms of the power, so that's why I had to put it in at the number 5 spot. I don't think anything can contest with it, but what things can contest with it is the fact that Giga has an absolutely abysmal stamina stat, which is always something to look out for in whatever version of Ark you're playing. Coming up next, we have got the Spino, and the reason I put it here above the Giga is personally I think it's just more useful than the Giga. It's got the hydration buff in water, which is nice. It can go on its hind legs and deal even more damage. I'm pretty sure it can do that in Ark Mobile as well. Hopefully it can. Again, if I got that wrong, comment that below, because, you know, I very much could get some things wrong in this video. So that's why I want to know your opinion through all of that as well. You can see that hydration buff there in the corner, and it's essentially a bit more, maybe not of a powerhouse over the Giga, but it's definitely got some great features going for it with its damage and its agility. Its health can be a little bit squishy in some cases, but I don't really think that holds it back. The Spino is a fabulous creature, and I think it is a pretty strong one for the old version of Ark Mobile, and it really gets any of your combat needs done. You might want a Giga going around on occasion doing some stuff on a Giga, but, you know, having out and getting a Spino, I think, is better. I would maybe be tempted to put the Rex, but the Rex isn't really a favorite of mine on Survival Evolved or Survival Ascended or just Ark in general, so I usually go for the Spino instead. In number 3, we've got the RG, the absolute powerhouse when it comes to flying in the old version of Ark Mobile. Again, looking through the list, there aren't really any better flyers that would be there. There is the Quetz, but the Quetz is certainly not better than the RG. You've got the saddle as well that comes with it, where you can use it like a smithy. Surprised there wasn't anything like a UT. Looking through the list of things, at least I can't see any version of the UT looking through any of the creatures in the Ark Mobile list, so that's why the UT isn't here. If there is a UT in Ark Mobile, then very sorry, but according to this list that I've got in front of me at the moment, it is not in there in the list of creatures. But the RG is an absolute great one for Survival Evolved, and it's a great one for any version of Ark which you'll be playing, including the old version of Ark Mobile. Smithy as a saddle, just great general all-round flyer. The stamina on this particular one here was a bit rubbish, but going round and, you know, using an RG is way better in my opinion than using a Pteranodon. Yes, maybe they're not quite as fast, but they've got stamina which will last for days if you get a good level, and a weight stat which is actually usable, unlike most Pteranodons. Next up, we have got the Barry in at number 2. Great for doing dungeons as far as I'm concerned for the mobile version of Ark, because there aren't really caves, at least from what I've seen. There aren't really caves in the mobile version of Ark, so looking at some creatures and looking at what I'd use for caving, probably be what I'd use for those dungeons as well on the mobile version of Ark. It actually sounds really cool looking into all of it, and I should perhaps maybe do a video. If you want to see that and a video about the old version of Ark Mobile, if I can possibly get a version of it and maybe try and emulate it on PC, perhaps try and get some controls that I can actually bear using. That was the main reason why I didn't do it, actually, is because I can't handle mobile controls. It sounds like a really cool version of Ark, which I'd be very happy to play. But yes, doing dungeons and going around, generally terrorizing, getting some damage dealt, is what the Barry's for, I think, and what I'd use it for if I was playing the old version of Ark Mobile. And at number 1, we've got the Royal Griffin. It might not be called the Royal Griffin, but this is what this list is calling it. I think it's supposed to be because of a distinction compared to the normal Griffin, because it is different to the normal Griffin ever so slightly. So if I find the Royal Griffin on this list, it is pretty much the Griffin though when you look at all of it and you look through all of it. Spawns on Far's Peak, and it is simply a Griffin. Essentially, it's just called something slightly different, and it's just a Griffin, but you know, when it was just the islands, you could use it on the island, and it tends to be a bit more of a red color, and that's why the name Royal Griffin's been used here. And its stats are pretty good: 750 base health, 225 base stam, 150 base oxygen, weights at a good 350, melee 27 to 12, not great, movement 100%, torpidity 1500, it's not bad, walking and swimming it's all right at, and flying it's certainly a lot better at. And it's got, obviously, its claw attack, it's got its grab, and it's got its diving and its dive bomb attack. So it works like a normal Griffin, essentially. Just got a slightly different name to distinct it, I think, on this list from the normal Griffin. But it is just a Griffin with a slightly different color scheme that spawns on the island on Far's Peak. So that is my top 10 list, and that is where I'm going to end today's video. So I hope you've enjoyed. If you disagree with this list, or if I got anything wrong about Ark Mobile, comment that all down below, as I'm certainly not an Ark Mobile player. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye. So thank you to my wonderful patrons Ekaterina Puchkova, Karina Thorne, Dominic Maciejewski, and Ethan Tapia, who have all supported me through Patreon or through YouTube memberships. If you want to join this list, then go join Patreon or YouTube members. But thanks to all of these guys.